Good afternoon. Welcome to this online international industry engagement workshop on IoT. I'm Xavier Moncunil. I'm associate professor at the Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya. I've been working for about 20 years on circuits and systems for communications, radio frequency, integrated circuit design, low power radio frequency communication circuits, and wireless sensor networks. With me are also Tonis Ramets, which has more than 20 years of work experience in the field of automotive and manufacturing. At present, he's at Tallinn University of Technology, working in the field and research of the development and implementation of digital optimization and management models in production processes. Also, Stefana Aungurensei, which has a background in electronics and telecommunications. She's now working for the Digital Innovation Zone, and she's supporting the MERIT project. And also Vlad Marinescu, which has been involved in consulting courses for European funds and management tasks. Also, Arturas Medeisis, which is associate professor at Vilnius Tech in the Department of Computer Science and Communications Engineering. So, as you may know, this workshop is supported by the MERIT project. This is an European project which will start many masters at many universities that are participating. And this responds to the need of digital profiles defined in the Itinerary Towards the Digital Decade, a program from the 2030 for the 2030 year or the horizon of the European Commission. In a report of the Commission, Shaping Europe's Digital Future, the Commission has highlighted that more than 90% of jobs already require specific digital skills, but the demand for digital experts cannot be met. For example, there is a gap of about 300,000 cybersecurity professionals in Europe. For this reason, the EU Digital Europe program prioritizes the development of digital skills in certain areas, of which these masters take three, which are artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and the Internet of Things. These masters will be developed within the European project MERIT through funds from the Digital Europe program in collaboration with several universities, SMEs, digital innovation hubs, and research centers. The budget is about 12 million euros, and there is financing, among other concepts, for scholarships for students, as well as the use of significant amounts for the definition and creation of the contents of the masters, and also for the execution of the first editions. MERIT partners have collaborated jointly in the design of the master's programs. The interest and the needs in the three areas I've mentioned, shown by the companies in the sector and the scientific community, have been taken into account, as well as the assessment of external studies. Likewise, we have collaborated to provide mobility opportunities, both for the teaching staff and the students, to integrate research aspects and solve market problems in practical projects. So the project considers the preparation of several workshops on these areas. We have had already one, for instance, on AI, but we will prepare also for cybersecurity and IoT, which is the one where we are now. So we expect that this workshop will be a discussion forum, an opportunity to maybe identify some gaps in the industry, some issues, some challenges, to see some examples, some real life applications, and the problems that the SMEs are facing present. So I would like to thank you, all the presenters participating in the workshop, also the workshop attendees. And I also want to say that, as you may have seen in the webpage, we identified or we proposed several topics, and the presentations that we will have today, they feel in at least in one of these topics, some of them several of these topics. These topics are industrial IoT and industry 4.0 and 5.0, IoT connectivity, IoT platforms and services, advanced technologies and concepts, and smart environment and application. So, according to the event agenda, we could start, if it's okay for you, if you are ready, with the first presentation. We have planned to make all the presentations. We said about 5 minutes per presentation, and we will start afterwards with the, we will open the discussion time. So the first presentation will be done by Raivo Sell from Taltech University. I propose that according you introduce your presentation, that you give us a bit of your background, so we can see already the shared screen. So Raivo, when you want.
Thank you very much. So yes, if I'm correct, the time is about 5 minutes. So it's not going to be a very long presentation, but very shortly, I try to combine the overview of industrial IoT and the one practical example. We are a university, not a company, so therefore maybe it's good that I'm the first presenter, so I can also give a very short overview about industrial IoT or IoT in general. My name is Raivo Sell from Taltech, professor of robotics, and also running the autonomous vehicles research group, also giving the courses industrial IoT for master students in English and also for local language for the bachelor students.
Raivo, your speaker is muted.
Sorry. So I pressed space when switching to slide. So I assume you heard my introduction. Okay, so let me continue. So so I wanted just to give a short overview about IoT as a first presenter, although probably all of you are aware of that. But maybe what's important to emphasize is that it's not only the technology, but IoT is actually much more, and it's connected or addressing the different fields. It's, for example, enabling technology of Industry 4.0. It's connected to the business model, security, privacy, and of course the data management. So I think it's very important. And industrial IoT is, of course, just a subcategory of IoT in general. So the term itself, Internet of Things, is not only about things, but actually includes the people, the processes, and many more. So it's, in that sense, maybe not correct anymore. And just to give a big picture of IoT technical layers is that from bottom to top, that we have a node level, the sensing or actuation layer, where is mostly the measurements are done about the different physical phenomena. Of course, the network layer and service layer, And those nodes, which is exchanging information between each other, are usually connected through the broker service, not directly to each other. So we definitely need to have a service layer at some level. There are also usually a database service to keep the historical data and many others. On top of that, there is an application layer or interfaces for the humans, so that people can also access the data and integrate or operate with the system, so get the inputs and read outputs. So this is kind of general architecture, and vertical is very important term security. So the security must be implemented in all layers, otherwise the weakest point actually jeopardizes all systems. So security is pretty often underestimated, and we see it also in our students that okay, let's put something up and working, and we'll think about security later on, but then it's maybe too late and you have to redesign your full system. So just a small introduction. So also about the practical case in our university, we are doing the research, but also the practical system development and implementation in the industry. There is one example is connected to the wood industry, where we have a full system implemented for several years already. And the purpose or the features of this system, what's mostly developed in-house, is that the real-time overview of production equipment and the processes. The idea is to see mostly focused on the maintenance requirements, predictive maintenance specifically, but also upgrade the old equipment for more contemporary solutions. So IoT can actually be implemented quite well to upgrade the heavy machinery, which can work many years further on into the more contemporary systems. And the node level, we have also our own hardware, which is kind of a microcontroller powered solution where you can connect very different sensors. And sensors are mostly measuring, for example, the tool temperature, vibration of the workstation, or request for the maintenance, rotational speeds. And by combining all these parameters, you can actually estimate the state or maintenance requirement for the machine. So we can also run different algorithms on top of that. And then maybe top layer, what we saw on the application layer is that user interface module, which is web-based or mobile phone or whatever you use, as management or operators can see. For example, here in this picture, you can see an example of one specific workstation. Uptime, the performance, quality, and then all other parameters what is defined in the higher level system view. And maybe there is overview about implementation process and benefits, but there's very short time. I think the presentation, the longer presentation, is shared by everyone, so I think I'm not gonna stop too long here, so everyone can read. And I believe that it's pretty straightforward that if you upgrade your old machinery with the sensors, of course, you get quite a lot of benefits out of this. So in this short time frame, thank you very much. You can look for more in the share the presentation file, and I'm here for the questions later on.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Thanks for the precise time. And we move on. We go next to the presentation of Maxion by Pau Feliu. So when you want.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. As I said, my name is Pau Feliu. I'm the CEO of a company called Maxion. What we do is we provide the tools to our customers to achieve the excellence in their production processes or logistic processes. So we are very focused on lean manufacturing. And with this point of view, we provide the technology, so the capability of real sensing of what happens in this warehouse and these factories in real time. Today, I'm presenting this as a smart device that we use for different particular cases. I will show you different use cases, how this can perform, and basically gives a cost-effective and non-intrusive solutions. Okay, I'll move on. As I said, as a company, we provide from development of hardware and software, integration of systems, and as well consultancy in terms of IT solutions. So we are freaks of of technologies and providing ways, methodology, and in terms of management for companies. Okay. This smart device, it really has 6 sensors in the same asset, and it has 10 years of autonomy. And it gives us a wide range of measurements. Here are listed. Distance to an object. It has a sensor in order to detect in a distance from 20 centimeters to up to 1 centimeter, more or less. Vibrations level, temperature, orientation in 3 axes, has an accelerometer, light intensity, magnetic field, and with our platform, which is called vCaptor, and with triangulation, similar to a beacon, we can establish quite precise indoor geolocation. Some applications here are some listed, but I always say that every year new applications come. We discover new use cases. But for example, we are counting pieces in a workplace. We detect the lack of material for logistic supplyment. We can monitor false vibrations of an asset, as I said before, indoor and outdoor geolocation. We can install this on a robot and detect movements and track where this robot is. And we also provide logging of these measurements in terms of, for example, we can put this sensor in a box or in a container, in a conveyor, and for outdoor logistics, it may be very interesting. This is our platform, which give us this is scalability, flexibility, and connectivity. So from this smart device, we have hubs. So we detect the information coming from these sensors, and once this information is to this platform, it's a kind of middleware, and then on top of that, we build the solutions. This is a example. This is a system that detects the lack of material and provides calls for managing the indoor logistics, so the supply of materials within a production line, for example. Here you see an example. As this wheel is spinning, the sensor detects, and automatically the logistics operator gets an alarm, a call, and it can go and supply with material or retire this box. Here the sensor is detecting the lack of this minimum stockage, and as well it provides a logistic call. Here in this video you will see the same smart sensor. Now it's detecting that the box is missing. The Kanban call is also triggered, but now we are connecting to you'll see the call appearing here in the screen, and we connect it to a logistics robot, and this integration will say, okay, robot, go to the warehouse and pick the right material. Here there is the sensor is controlling, monitoring the spinning of this loom, and we provide the KPIs for OE calculation, so efficiency calculations when it stops. And here the same with an old machine. As you see, is a non-intrusive sensing with this device, and we are capable of sensing very, very old machines. Here the sensor is counting these boxes, as you see, and as well we use it to count in terms of efficiency. And this is another use case. And the last one, we install this in exoskeletons, and we have real-time monitoring of the environmental conditions of these workers, but also it gave us the presence detection, traceability, and counting pieces as well. And that's all for now. Thank you for listening. Some keynotes, some numbers. We started with the first version on 2016, and we are keeping investing on this smart sensor with new use cases, with new versions. And about the pricing, here you have more or less the numbers. So if you are interested in this smart device, please do not hesitate to contact me, and I will share my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. We move on. Next presentation will be done by Gabriel Dinu from Octavic.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm very glad to be here today at the IoT workshop organized by Digital Innovation Zone, or at least I was invited by them. And I'm very glad to see that everyone here seems to be interested in the manufacturing area. I'm also in this industry for 2 years, and I just fell in love with it. I wouldn't like to do something else right now. Today, I will speak on behalf of Octavic, a company based in Romania. Let me share also a presentation. Just a minute. Okay, so the topic that I will discuss today will be very useful for professionals working in the manufacturing or collaborating with factories in some way or another. And what we do at Octavic is we help manufacturers to reduce efficiency and productivity losses, deliver orders on time, satisfy and retain customers, reduce waste of raw materials, energy, other utilities, and generally reduce cost in production. This will be, I feel, comparing to what I have already seen before, the two solutions we discussed, they are not, let's say they are similar, but not the same. They are rather helping each other. And By the way, we also had a project together with Taltech University from Raivo, who presented first. It's called 5G Timber, if anyone is interested, for the wood industry with Hecotec in Estonia. Okay, now I'll go further and tell you what Octavic, how Octavic does all of this, how it helps manufacturers. We connect to the production equipment by installing devices which automatically collect basic data, such as run, stop, number of units produced, number of rejects, number of cuts, fillings, and so on. And on top of this, we install an HMI for the operators, where they can log in, log out, start and shift, start and order, or insert a downtime reason. Very basic information we did for them, and basically 2-3 minutes per shift. Most of the data is collected automatically. This data is sent into a local or cloud server, and based on the data, we offer visibility in real time through visual management boards, like this one, for example. Just let me full screen. I hope you can see it well. So here, for example, you may see a visual management board per line, or a visual management per production area or the whole factory with status, what's happening on each production line. Okay. Practically, these visual management boards help stakeholders to see in real time what's happening on the shop floor. And when a problem occurs in production, such as a downtime, the stakeholders also receive alerts on email, SMS. If the problem is not solved within a preset time period like 30 minutes, the alerts will be escalated hierarchically until it is solved. Octavic automates manual production reports made on paper or data insertion in Excel, which are very used in most factories. Using real-time visibility, stakeholders can react quickly, take measures, and reduce problems' impact in production. This way, they can increase efficiency and productivity in the production area. Next, what I'd like to show you. Just a moment. Just a moment. I have some problem. Okay, that's it. So next is the second layer of Octavic is the reports and analysis module, where producers can make analysis on long-term periods of time. The Octavic system can offer insight on dozens of production-related KPIs, such as OEE, production output, scrap rate, downtime analysis, including Pareto, maintenance metrics, energy consumption, and many, many more. And data analysis will help identify trends and reasons for efficiency and productivity losses, waste of raw materials or energy, and will help stakeholders to take decisions in order to optimize the production processes in the future and avoid similar mistakes or losses. Octavic has use cases in several industries, but most of them are in pharma, food, and beverage. We also have installations in tobacco, electronics, automotive, the wood industry, plastics, extrusion and injections, or building materials. And one of our most successful projects was with Expur, a sunflower oil manufacturer from the French group Avril. After implementing Octavic on 3 bottling lines, Expur has noticed an OEE increase of 20% in the first 3 months after go live. In conclusion, our ideal customers are the factories that struggle to deliver orders on time, those who wish to increase their efficiency and productivity, or to reduce production costs. And as a side effect, Octavic also helps reducing the carbon footprint by reducing, of course, energy consumption and raw materials used in the production processes. In case anyone has any questions later after presentations, or or you will ever in the future meet anyone interested in achieving such goals, you may contact Octavic on our website, octavic.io, or connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a direct message, please. I really hope you found the content interesting and will help you in the near future. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you very much, Gabriel, for your presentation. So we switch to the next one. Cornel Barboot will speak now from Vegacom Consulting. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Cornel Barboot is my name. There are two letters from Romanian, but that's Cornel. Shortly, I'm representing Vegacom. I'm telecom engineers, 31 years, but with my company, 20 years already, company Vegacom. I will share now the presentation that already we start the IoT venture, let's say in 2016. So now I hope you will see the presentation on the screen. Just let me know if you see. It's all right to you?
Yes,
Yes.
Perfectly, thank you. I would like to thanks to the organizers, especially now I have received the invitation through BEA, and also this all the IoT workers and lovers, I can say. It's good to have some sharing information. So my perspective is about the challenges of IoT in international climate for the parking sensors, because we know, let's say, some of the issues with GSM, but about IoT roaming, it's a little bit strange word. So something about us, Vegacom, the company with 20 years of experience. We have like 3 shops, but one of the shop is about the parking. So that's why you see parking data. That's our brand, let's say, about parking. We are, let's say, an investor in parking areas. We invest, we digitize the parking lots, and we provide indoor and outdoor parking systems. So that's something like we do with the parkings. And our journey in IoT started in 2016, and we try with Sigfox first. After this, we moved to LoRa. We create our own parking sensors from 2016 with IoT-Fi solutions, and moving in 2018 was taking like 2 years life cycle of our product, parking sensor. And we did it at the beginning with LoRa. We installed in Alba Iulia, is a city where it was a pilot project about smart city. In 2018, we delivered 200 parking sensors with LoRa. Later on, we received a request to build up these parking sensors with narrowband IoT and with LTE. So presently, we are delivering, like last year, we deliver in Bucharest 2 sensors with first narrowband IoT, and now we have a client in Netherlands for which we deliver the parking sensors with narrowband IoT. We noticed that with LTE is consuming more power, more energy consumption, 20% more with LTE, even if the telcos operators are moving to LTE, but we see that LTE is more power consumption. And also we had a reference in 2019. Why to make only with the parking sensors? Because the communication it's different, but the system is the same. So we made the smart metering sensors, and for one mall we put together for electricity, gas, and water. We collect the data out in one platform. So that's our journey, and from this journey we want to show that our parking sensor installed here. You see in Alba Iulia, these are installed parking sensors. And these are our parking sensors. On the left side is the first generation, what we install in Alba Iulia. Second one is like a UFO, we call it like a new design and Star Wars, but not yet implemented like you see down from the Germany. That's another style. And on the right side, you see our latest generation number 2, we call it like with narrowband IoT. These are we are producing. So now I want to insist more on the challenges. What are the challenges? And here will be like a discussion. I will say our problems. I appreciate that I saw in a previous presenter slide some of the issues we face, because we in IoT, I think we need to discuss about what the challenges, problems, solutions do we have. So the 4 items, the 4 categories, what I want to raise now. The first is connectivity, because connectivity is very important in our IoT. And about the LoRa, for example, we have a challenge in a mall, one of the biggest mall in Bucharest, where we implemented since last year 300 metering points. It was 170 electricity meters and 130 water meters. And the total is 300 metering points. At the beginning, normally we said it will be enough 2 gateways of LoRa. But finally, we put 4, and we couldn't have the 100% connectivity in the right place. So what we changed the antenna, and still we face a problem where 1 day per week that we cannot get the data, but randomly. So it seems that LoRa is a little bit strange in our opinion up to now. So I want to change the ideas with you if you face such problems with LoRa. This is one. Secondly, roaming. For the parking sensors in Romania are working very okay, very good. Our customer is very happy, 6 months working very well. So now he wants to replace the Bosch sensors, which big names are there, but with our sensors. But now we have another problem. When we move our parking sensors with the SIM card supplier, like Orange or other suppliers, their supplier from Netherlands, they are telling us that hey, I have a coverage of narrowband IoT or LTE. But when you put the parking sensor there, it's not working. What's happening there? The problem is that they have a miscommunication or bad communication between the commercial guys and technical guys. So they didn't tell us the right APN. So we face this stupid problem. Normally we are asked to make a good and solve bigger problems. So that's why we made a network tester. We tried to look on the internet. We didn't find a network tester for narrowband IoT, for example. So we built it ourselves. And now we are in a safe way that we control by ourselves. But it's also another question about the audience, how you solve the issues with the roaming in narrowband IoT in this moment. Third issue is about the customers. Of course, that's a big resistance for new technology. So still, even if we have the technology, we have the products, but still difficult to get customers for this. And false competition. Why? Because, for example, with Mall, with LoRa, when we proposed them, they didn't took our solution, but they took solution from another customer, for another client, which is a big name, only from the big names with big turnover. At the end, after 1 year, they called me, Cornel, can you help us to solve this issue? Because the other big guys cannot finish. So this is false competition. We need to check and maybe we share between us how we can try to solve these issues. And the last one, and most important for me, how education. How do we prepare the future specialist? Because I'm sure in all the companies we are here, if we are looking in each of internal side, we need more people to employ. But where from to employ? Because they will not be ready to work for us. So at least I'm a trainer also. I'm doing training for other industries, but I'm trying to make trainings for IoT starting next year. Here I'm asking your support. I see the presentation and all of you have expertise and you have experience. I'm inviting you to work with us to make and to prepare the future specialists. In this moment, what I see, there are 3 different categories. Where to prepare, which university, which category. So that's something to launch a debate and an invitation to come together to do a real good training based on the expertise and the experience. That's what I would like to say. And if you can find me here on the email or on the mobile phone, I will send you also the presentation. But I'm looking forward to keep in contact with you and to develop more this IoT in a better conditions and in a real shape. Thank you for this attention and for this participation together, to be together.
Thanks a lot to you, Cornel. So interesting presentations, different kind of products, different kind of services. Next one.
You see here, that's the real presentation. The parking sensor is here. You see here on the screen now, not only on the picture, yeah? So to see the first generation and the last generation. So you see, we are not speaking about only papers, presentations, PPTs. We are speaking real. Okay.
That's good. That's
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks a lot. So next one is will be done by Ernst Dreimanis from SAF Technica. So go ahead.
Yes, hello. Nice to see all of you. I'm Ernest, product manager at SAF Technica, and our company has more than 20 years experience in different wireless transmission, and more than 5 years we are already in IoT with ARANET IoT platform. Before we start, I would like to ask you, maybe you can say, what is common between farm, greenhouse, and university? Any ideas? Okay, so in general, it's a well-being, because dairy farm heat stress is one of the factors of impacting production and reproduction. In greenhouse, modern greenhouse, if you optimally steer temperature, light, humidity conditions, you can gain 20% and even more increase in the yields. And it has been proved that for indoor air quality, if the CO2 level goes up to more than 1,500 particles per cubic meter, cognitive abilities are reduced by half. So it's all about well-being. It's all about knowing what is happening and making a decision based on the data. Actually, what is about IoT? And as IoT platform manufacturers, we are manufacturing sensors, base station, and we have also our own software as a service platform, which can be offered as a total solution for different aspects. And what we can see and share from our project, the key factors which arise when the customer thinks about implementing IoT solutions generally are few of them. First of all is sensor connectivity and range. What the sensors I need to attach, how do I need to make some wiring, and so on and so on. The next thing is battery life and power efficiency, because it's good to have the sensors, but if you need to maintain them every month to change the batteries or do something else, it becomes an issue. So the sensor should run years without the human intervention. Also, this easy integration and setup, when you have one who is building a sensor, other vendor is who has implemented a gateway, and then there is this connectivity factor and what a platform to take for the data. So it's good to have a solution which is without a complex setup, which has abilities to have the end-to-end responsibility. So instead of looking for different components from different vendors, it is better to use one integrator who is responsible end-to-end for the solution. And of course, integration possibilities. IoT platform as a standalone solution will be just one more wireless monitoring system, and that's all. In modern IoT platform, you need to have integration possibilities, and those integrations must be both ways. And it depends on the solution itself. For some solutions, you need to have an open integrations and API to build complex solutions to be a part of your daily business processes. And there are a lot of solutions in manufacturing IoT, especially where you need to have on-site integrations, like protocols like Modbus, BACnet, where the sensor provides wireless data directly to your hardware, which drives the solution. So those are typically the key aspects which we see that partners, customers, and end users are asking when they're thinking about IoT platform. One more thing about ARENET as such. We understand that actually educated users and universities are the key for our success as well. Therefore, we have established ARENET academic program, which supports different kind of academic research projects with our hardware. And generally, if you are interested in our products, in the solutions, you can contact us always, and we are open for discussions either for some research project or some real-life case studies where you need IoT sensors and monitoring platform. So thank you for opportunities to share our insights for IoT.
Thank you very much, Ernest, for your presentation. So, as we have seen and as we know, most IoT platforms rely on the existence and the good performance of the cloud. And precisely the next presentation is about cloud computing and distributed systems, which will be carried out by Aleix Llussà from the Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya. So Aleix, when you want.
Hi, thanks, Xavi. Do you see my presentation?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
see it very well.
So I'm professor at UPC, a colleague from Xavi. I teach in ICT engineering and also in industrial engineering. And I'm researching on topics about free software, free open neutral network, and also time series databases. So today I'm talking about cloud computing. It will be a course in the master. So yeah, just in these 5 minutes, let's go quick to the challenge. So to speak about challenge in cloud computing, I think that's easy today because maybe you remember 19 July of this summer. It was a total chaos produced by an outage in Azure, CrowdStrike. Well, we don't mind who's guilty, but the problem is a lot of business relying on a single cloud provider were impacted. His business, we could say, like were airports, banks, hospitals. So, well, critical, very critical chaos. Another, just to put the challenges clear, another outage in 2021. This is the most remarkable ones I remember. An OVH cloud data center was on fire. Yes, there was an outage during the fire, obviously, and finally there was a total problem. Some business had their all their data and all their backups, so it was a total disaster. So I would think that these are the challenge for cloud computing. And it's not just putting extinguishers to stop fire or do better cloud providers. No, it's that we as business cannot rely on cloud providers or not only on one cloud provider. So thinking about this, which model could be the best for cloud computing? You know, there are a lot of models: platform as a service, in-house, public cloud, multi-cloud, yes, having more than a cloud provider. Well, I would say it depends on your business. Right? It depends on your business value, on your critical services. Perhaps you are a startup, so just to go to a public provider or have a platform or a service is correct. It has low capital expenses. You get quick your product. That is what you want. So this is correct. But we put it on another side. We are an airport. Can we fail as an airport? Can we say, oh, the cloud provider is not working? No, I think that it's not a good response to our customers that are only people who want to fly. So if we are an airport, we know that we are putting our core business part inside the cloud, so it becomes critical. Then we need to somehow manage it in chaos engineering manage. What does it mean? That we have to have more than one cloud provider. This is called multi-cloud. What if we mind about security and privacy? What if the cloud provider is a competitor for us? Well, we don't have control of what is inside there. So maybe an in-house cloud would be a better solution. And just to put it in a more engineering view, what we say is that mainly we have two requirements for cloud computing: high availability and disaster recovery. If we cover those two requirements, we can be sure that we will not have that major chaos that happened on 19 July. With high availability, it includes also high efficiency, geographic distribution. And with disaster recovery is, well, when we have a major outage, during how much time can we hold a major outage? If we are an airport, can we have all the scanners offline for 1 hour? Maybe not, for half an hour. So after this time, we have to go to disaster recovery. And we have to think about disaster recovery about behind it happens. So we need a lot of risk assessment to put these requirements in our engineering cloud computing. No worry, engineering has some answers about that. So I would say that software engineering is shifting towards another methodologies because of the challenges, DevOps, continuous deployment, infrastructure as code, of course, virtualization, and we are thinking our infrastructure as a microservice, cloud-based model. What has been more aligned with this is containerization and orchestration. This will be the top level requirements because then we are more flexible to adapt to a multi-cloud infrastructure. So, well, just to let here to recall the challenges. What could be my dreams about the challenges is when I like taking a cafe at the morning and I don't like to get disturbed when I'm in my cafe. And no emergency, no, Viage is in fire. Well, I like to say no, it doesn't mind, I have another provider. High availability automatically will go to the other provider. And at night, I sleep. I don't do deployments at night. I like to sleep. I do deployments when I'm on my coffee. So thank you very much. Hope you have your challenge complete.
Thank you very much, Aleix. So about cloud computing. Next presentation is one of the or several of the products of Beia Consult International by Ionel Zatreanu.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
I'll share my presentation. Just a moment. Okay, thank you. Okay, a short presentation. My name is Ionel Zătreanu. I am the sales manager at Bea company for about 9 years. In this afternoon, I will present cloud platform. The name of this cloud platform is Telecontact. It's a product developed by Bea in a project won on a call for national funding with the national funding. Some details about this platform. Telecontact platform addresses the monitoring of critical water, air pollution, electricity, and data infrastructures, and is distinguished by its modularity, which allows the platform to be configured according to the specific requirements of the client. Here it's a short presentation of our company, Bea. George Suciu Senior is our general manager. He founded this company in 1991. In this moment, we have 3 business lines. First line, it's about IT and telecommunication equipment. Second, it's about IoT telemetry and telemonitorization solutions. And third and important legs of our business, it's about R&D and innovation projects. The company has around 90 employees. More of them are with university degrees. These are presented here, the project objectives. The project starting in 2020 in June and finalizing last year in the summer. The main important results of these projects are 4 services, 4 type of services. 4 of them are for monitoring and reporting service. The second service is about call center. The third service, it's about communication services in environments without GSM coverage. The fourth service, it's about optimization of some control indicator. And the 5 service and products, it's about this monitoring solution. Here are presented some of this solution for to monitor radiation level, air quality, monitoring gas emission, monitoring weather condition, water quality, water level, water networks, energy networks, and data networks. Here are presented one of this solution. It's about a data logger here that are supplied by a small solar panel. All the data are transmitted in data gateway, and from there are stored in our Telecontact platform. The architecture is presented here. The sensor, all the sensors are installed in the field. The data from the sensors are transmitted in gateway, and from the gateway, the data are stored in this platform, in Telecontact platform, where here are presented some of the services that we delivered to our clients. Monitoring and reporting service, call center service, measurement and control indicator optimization service. Here it's a dashboard with our or is presented our platform. One important service, it's communication services in environments without GSM coverage. The monitoring and reporting services, it's about electricity network monitoring service, electricity network monitoring service, air quality monitoring service, gas emission monitoring service, water quality monitoring service, water level monitoring service, and the radiation level monitoring service. Here are presenting some dashboards with all in these services. In this project, we developed an algorithm for correcting measured PM values. PM means particular small particle who's depending on humidity, air humidity. Here are presenting our call center service. This service include voice bot and chat bot. We developed these bots in Romanian and English language. Here is presented a dashboard of this service call center. And if you want more details about our platform, please contact me. Here it's my email and Skype address. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ionel, for your presentation. So we move to the last presentation, the RMR Project Consortium, which will be carried out by Volker Krumpel.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for giving me the chance to present the project and our company. Can you see my screen and hear me well?
Yes, perfectly.
Perfect. So now it seems to work. This raw material radar project is a EU-funded project about combining IoT devices and implementing them in the rural areas in Africa or anywhere else in the world where it's about sourcing of raw materials. We as MindSpider, we developed a platform that is backed on blockchain and that helps companies to track supplies along supply chain and along the full life cycle of products. We do that in various industries, but mainly in the raw materials, primary raw materials industries, and for example, in the mining industry, but also in automotive industry. We track EV batteries and so on, and then later also in the recycling industry. Recycling of EV batteries is one thing, dismantling of EV batteries, and also in PV industry or other devices. And there people can use our platform that allows them also to generate digital product passports, which will become mandatory in the industry because of the actual EU regulations, eco-design regulations and battery regulations that you have to show where raw materials come from and where your products come from and connect them and add data to a passport, a digital passport that shows people all the information that they need to be compliant and of course to get trusted customers for your products. This is, as I mentioned already, RMR is one product of several. The others are Betraw and Apollo, for example, or Recirculate, where we connect our platform to robots and other types of IoT devices, sensors and so on. And in RMR, we do that in a more sophisticated way by also developing, with the help of our consortium partners like FBK, Foundation Bruno Kessler, and EC Terra, which is a company that is on the spot in Africa and other countries to help artisanal mining environments to integrate and get their raw materials that they source compliant into a European market. And as a European off-taker of these raw materials, you have to make sure that you don't fund things like criminals or non-compliant activities in rural areas. So this is why it's important that you can show where the raw materials come from, especially in the small-scale mining areas. What we did is we designed tools like digital scales that include IoT devices that can collect data and automatically, first of all, store the data encrypted on the device, and when connected to the system, automatically, for example, share this and upload the information into our MineSpider platform, which then generates product passports automatically, and which then can be connected to the products where these raw materials end up in later. So in this RMR project, we want to show that the mining sector gets connected to the global raw material markets, in particular in Europe, but also in other countries where high requirements for compliance. And on the other hand, we see that the local people need support. I mean, they want to keep their effort as low as possible because usually people don't get paid more for their products when they are compliant. They just want to sell them to who pays the most. And to make it easier for them to meet the compliance that is requested in Europe or in other countries, we try to help them with devices that do things automatically. For example, in this RMR project, we have a scale that can be connected or that can be used by two people who have RFID token in their hand that are assigned to them. One is for the seller, another one is for the off-taker, for the trader, for example. And when these two people connect their RFID chip to the and hold it in front of the scale while they measure something on the scale, then this data is automatically connected with each other and added into a digital footprint of the activities. That means of the people that are involved and of the weight of the stuff that is on the material on the scale, and that is later fed into the MineSpider application and into the digital product passport that is associated to the raw materials that are sourced there. Also, we developed barrels, digital barrels that have all kinds of sensors associated to it. For example, sensors that can measure when there's light or when it's dark. So, for example, when the barrel is opened, then there may be light in the surroundings so that you can see, okay, the lid has been opened, and so someone can evidence that things have been, someone has opened the barrel, or, for example, also sensors involved that can show when things have been moved, or when things. When the location is changing, for example, along the way from Africa to Europe. And these technologies shall help the continuous monitoring but also help to detect anomalies and also help to provide for data integrity, because the data is generated not only automatically, but also you have different data points everywhere, and the data is stored in an encrypted way and also put on blockchain to show later that you can always identify if something has been modified later or whenever. So this footprint of the information can help to identify if data has been manipulated or not, if it has been touched or not, and when and by whom maybe. And this all added to a digital product passport can help people to understand where things come from and if they have been touched or if they have been modified, or if this is information from the primary source of the material. So in the end, we see that the combination of all these different tools and technologies really makes sense for the industry. That means it's of course really important to have data security and immutability, but also have a very simple approach for people who want to work with these tools. This includes, for example, considering that there's not always internet connectivity. So our tools that we develop can be used offline and store data whenever they are offline and whenever then they are later connected, for example, to a mobile phone or whatever by Bluetooth or in other ways. Then this data is taken from the encrypted storage and then automatically via the tools that we have, the RMR platform and the MindFire platform, these information are then processed in a way that can show the traceability of the information and of the raw materials, for example. As I already said, the full transparency and traceability helps the industry to understand where the products come from. It opens new markets, for example, for the traders in Africa. They get access to European off-takers who have to meet these compliance requirements. And it helps to get more efficient because you don't have to manually document things because it's getting documented automatically with our tools. It helps you to bring in something into the circular economy because you can connect these devices anywhere along the full life cycle. And this way help, for example, to understand different product qualities depending on different sources of raw materials and so on, secondary raw materials, primary raw materials and so on. But also when you have the digital product passports combined to them, you can get the information that you need for processing. For example, when you dismantle a battery, you can read the QR codes that are generated and combined with our product passports and get information about manufacturers and chemical composition of materials, physical sources and people who have, for example, other or further information that you need, for example, for recycling or repair or refurbishment and so on. So it's not only about regulatory compliance, but also a lot about efficiency and about a full life cycle view on the things and the data that is required along the life cycle. This was a very fast overview. I'm not sure if you got everything, but of course you can connect to me, especially when you have maybe when you see potentials for any one of your industries or within your industry that you're connected to, or people who from the industry where you think they may be subject to the European regulations on traceability, transparency, and product passports, or in the raw materials industry. In the end, our tools can be used in any kind of industry for any kind of product or component or raw material or whatever, because they are agnostic to industries and locations and so on. That's it from my end. I hope I met the 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay, thank you very much, Volker. So, well, all presentations have been made, and a bit more time than predicted, but no problem. We had actually enough time. So we can open now the time for discussion, for questions also. So does anybody Cornel, would
Yes,
you like to participate?
I would like to start a short question to Alex, to your colleague from Catalonia, about the cloud. With my sensors, I'm looking okay on cloud, so that you see several options there. But I see within these several options, when you put me several options, I don't know what to choose. So then it's a question to you, because that we have like 3 options, like a private cloud or hybrid cloud. Yeah. So between these 2, like which are, for example, like me, a provider, like a worker with IoT, is no need for me to make my own IoT. Now, what are your recommendations for a provider, like a worker in IoT, between hybrid and private? When I should go to hybrid cloud? When I should go to the second cloud provider? As the first one is okay. Thank you.
Okay, yes. Well, yes, there's no direct solution never. Yes, there's always compromises. What I would recommend is always assess for your risk. It's a problem of risk and money that you want to expend there. If you have one cloud provider, you depend on that provider. Right? If that provider has an outage, then you have a serious problem, because you have your core business part there. So you have to take account the risk. Can you manage an outage like this one of Azure? Can you be one day without your cloud computing? If the response is yes, then that's no problem. Okay. If you say no, only 1 minute of outage, then I would go for an hybrid solution. Right? It's like that you don't have to compute at the same time at 2 providers. Right? It's just you are prepared in case you need to move to the other provider. This hybrid solution, then you also can be each day on the most cheapest one. If one day one is more cheaper, then you go for that provider. Right? Next week another is more cheaper, you change automatically. Basically, because you are prepared with your IT infrastructure to do this quick change. This could be what I recommend, to be prepared to change in case you think you will need it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Maybe I can add something to this.
Question.
Yeah, to this point that was just discussed. I think this is a really interesting point, because there is, from my point of view, a big gap between expectations and things that the industry would like to have and the thing that they want to pay for. And in the end, what we usually do is that we are, first of all, very transparent with the limitations to our customers, or the limitations of our system. We tell our customers what they get and what they could get if they want to pay more. For example, in terms of data security, you can do a lot. There are different variations that you can do. You can work things, our platforms can be connected to different clouds, for example, can connect, decentralize it in different levels and so on. And for example, when we speak to the automotive industry, who really have a high level of, or they have lots of policies that detail a lot about data security. And when you then ask them, okay, we can make it very safe, but it costs you a lot, then they suddenly say, no, just start with the minimum, just start with the lowest level, and then we check and later see if it makes sense to really make it more secure, make it more decentralized and so on. So when it gets to money, companies get reluctant, and then suddenly the requirements are not as heavy as you may think at the beginning. This is what I can say from my experience.
Yeah, maybe I could add a little bit with my question, because I was having a question related to cybersecurity, because no one wants to invest a lot in cybersecurity, and especially it seems like, okay, for software, yeah, they are trying to invest, but for IoT, it's like let's try to do as less as possible. So my question was, because you are from different sectors, like how much usually companies are thinking about cybersecurity in IoT sector? For example, maybe it's possible to express in, I don't know, some kind of in a proportion of a budget. Is it just 0, or is it, I don't know, 10% of how much they care about cybersecurity, about the safety even of the solutions?
In my experience, for example, from providers, what I'm working with, let's say, is between 0 and 5%, no more.
Yeah, I think one thing is, of course, what is the impact? What do you risk when something is not as secure as it could be? What do you lose when things get disrupted? And I think this was already mentioned by Alex. For example, yeah, when data gets lost, what is the liability limitation that you have by contract or by other means? And when you balance this out, then it can be that you end up at, oh, there is no budget for this because there are other means to handle this problem. For example, by contracts that exclude these kind of liabilities or that have insurance or whatever.
But it seems like we are doing something bad in the university. We are not convincing the future experts that the security is important. It's related to what was mentioned about the education.
You have to show them how to do a proper risk analysis and be transparent in the limitations and what comes with it. I think this is a key factor. So if you don't know what the risk is, this is the worst case. But if you're aware of certain risks, then you can manage them. And then you can decide, and it's not as a provider of security, it's not your fault when people are aware of certain risk. And if they decide not to choose a more safe version of a product just because of the cost. Of course, there are some things, for example, legal reasons why you have to make sure that things are secure. For example, data protection is something where insurance doesn't help. When private individual data gets lost, this can be a very big issue. Also, brand protection. That means if there's a claim that data got lost, then, for example, an automotive provider may have a big issue. When things get disrupted because people hack into your system, this can also be a big issue. But for example, in the recycling industry, when people think, if it gets lost, then things will get recycled anyway. It's just that some information may not be as complete as expected. So it really depends on health and safety is a very big issue. So wherever that is involved, you have to be very careful. When it's only about money but not health and safety, then the risk management may be a little bit different, I think.
Just to complement with Volker, Simona, that my experience is that I didn't pay anything about cybersecurity. I try to make tests with like partners, but since my client, which is from Netherlands, asked me what the security measures I take. So if the client is asking me, I have a problem. So the client was asking me. So for you to know as a university, if you ask your customers or your, let's say, partners to ask their suppliers, to ask which are the cybersecurity measures they take, and then the role is going on. So then I had to check and which are the security measures I have to take. So that's another way of doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I see that there are some standard setters. For example, AWS, a big provider that most of the industry builds on, or at least from my perspective, in many industries, they are a key provider. They have some, they offer certain data security elements, and you can read them. They have some standard. They get assessed every year or every 2 years. And this is what, although it's not perfect, but this is a certain level that industry is expecting and can expect. When you want to go beyond that, it's way more expensive. There's not so much competition, but there's also not so much need for that. It seems to be like that. And this can be something what we usually try to identify is who in the supply chains is using which providers, which standards are set there, and is this does it make sense, or are there any gaps in it? Because usually in complex supply chains, when there's a little hole somewhere, it can affect everyone. If any container stops everyone is impacted by that, as we saw during Corona, for example. So it's it's a good question, and of course you're right. You have to investigate it sometimes.
If no one is asking, I have another question. So it's more related now to the cloud computing, but it's related to security anyways. So all of you have the devices and are sending the data. And as if I understood correctly, it also depends on the situation, what kind of device. But I'm thinking like if I would like to build as flexible system as possible, I would be trying to cover both, for example, direct connection to the cloud, maybe sending the data to the edge, maybe storing in the device, but all the flexibility has a price as well. So basically it's related to security because like if I'm sending to the cloud, I'm losing. If I'm storing, I'm also losing in another way. So also how you are looking into the property as flexibility, like in this case, providing different type of communications or different type of data storage in the devices. Like, is it a priority or no?
The interoperability from my point of view is very difficult in this world. Interoperability is a critical point, but nobody is taking care.
Yeah, because not necessary, it's necessary because there is a chance you will be creating different versions for different things. But also there was one discussion in another project, and the person was saying there is no such a thing like Internet of Things anymore. There is only cloud. It was his opinion. So in this case, what's your opinion? Is it in any case like now everything should be connected to the cloud, or no, it's not cloud computing only? We have some areas which are important without cloud.
There is coming the frog. So please pay attention that before clouds is the frog.
I think there are different trends ongoing. There was one trend that was everything directing to cloud systems. And at least in the industry that we work with, we see that there is now going a trend to on-premise solutions because they want to protect everything. And I think it will go then in waves. And it also depends on where you are and what industry you're in. And one thing that I wanted to add is every extra step extra element of flexibility is an extra element of complexity, which is an extra element of risk. So you really have to figure out what is the best balance for your customer and for your product.
Yeah, and I would add that, for example, an airport should go on premises for sure, because a network outage cannot affect their business. Right? They must be a fault tolerance to every external impossibility. So this is clear. Right? If you are an airport, you have to have your cloud on premises. You cannot go external for the critical part of your business, because you cannot stop your business. Stopping your business means lost revenue, but also means lost working hours. But you say to your workers, go home because we are not working today. So there are critical cases that's sure that they have to go on premises.
Risk management. Yeah, I see multiple of persons want to say something.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, Ernest was the first one who raised the hand.
Yes, okay. So I can share also from our projects where we have setups of the sensors, gateways, and also cloud solution. There is industries which require on-site integrations and who are strictly saying that cloud connectivity in general is additional point of failure. And as an example, greenhouse. Sensor gateway should feed a climate computer directly, because even outage of half an hour can ruin all of your greenhouse content if failure happens when the sun starts to shine or when the energy goes down. So there are different use cases, different business industries where somebody doesn't rely. There is fraction of the projects where customer says, data cannot be sent outside of my premises, so please build everything on site. Even if it's a cloud solution, then please provide me an option for cloud on premise. And then, as some colleagues has mentioned, pricing factor actually comes into the role, because cloud on premise can be set up, but it's a totally different project comparing with software as a service. So these are consideration in some of our projects as we see it with customers.
Yeah, also Arturas and Christian had hands raised.
Thank you. Actually, I was wondering if we could discuss, spend some time on the question raised by Cornel about the connectivity options, because he mentioned this really interesting question of choice vis-a-vis proprietary technologies such as LoRa and 3GPP-based technologies, let's say narrowband IoT or LTE Cat-M. So I wonder whether any of other colleagues can share some of their practical experiences in terms of choice between those technologies based on different criteria.
Be free to say, don't wait until we will mention your name.
Maybe I can add something to that, although I'm not the tech expert, but what I see is that we start usually with open source or most cheapest offerings that work in a specific environment, and then check out what could be the next level. But this only makes sense to implement when you want to scale something. So it really depends on the goal that you want to achieve. And what kind of individual use case it affects. So I can't give a general answer or a very detailed answer just on a very high level. I can say it really depends on the case, what kind of sensors or connectors we use. Yeah, that's what I can say. Maybe I think Hamza is also in this call. I'm not sure if you have any experience on the spot, what happens in Africa, what kind of connectivities, expectations you have there. I'm not sure if he's still there, but no less. I think that's my point of view on that front.
Basically, the price is the key driving factor. Yeah, that's what I hear. Also, the same as with security, basically. Yeah, so it's really seems to be like a dominant again and again factor in IoT deployment scenarios.
Absolutely.
Probably not even in IoT. Like when we talking with companies, they are saying we want it as cheap as possible when yesterday. So always there is a balance between quality, time. Yeah.
Fair point. Fair point.
From our experience with connectivity as such, as we see and in discussions with the customers, typical situation is in indoor air quality, like you have a building, you have an office or greenhouse or HVAC industry, you do not have a moving part. Mainly of those sensors are locally, and then the customer is looking for a solution to get as much of possible sensors with as less as possible monthly subscription for data connectivity. And in this case, sensors are chosen mainly with the gateways. And then the question is, okay, what connectivity your gateway supports and how much gateways do I need for the sensors? So sensor to gateway communication, then we have this list of the Bluetooth 2.4 gigahertz, which typically has some interferences for local Wi-Fi's, and then this LoRa technology with LoRaWAN as a standardized protocol with many protocols or some appropriate vendors who have built the solutions on top of LoRa. And there is a question of the preference and maybe sometimes how much different sensor types do you need? Do you have like full kit of the sensors available for one vendor, then actually connectivity is the last topic. Or you are going and building all of these integrations by yourself and then face different connectivity issues, different networking issues, different understanding how every vendor has implemented the same protocol, but with their understanding. I can refer that, yes, with LoRa protocol, we also see that in many cases, one building cannot be covered by one gateway, and then you are looking for the solutions when multiple gateways collect the data, and sometimes it's critical becomes to deduplicate the data, because then you are starting to talk about, okay, I have one sensor, two gateways, and both of them receive the data at one or other moment, and how to deduplicate the data. So those are the topics in those indoor environments which are need to be taken into account for this radio connection. And one topic about IoT roamings. We also have faced actually with this 4G or SIM cards when you have a local provider with whom you can sign a contract, but when you are like sending your sensors and selling globally, you're not able anymore to set up a contract in every country by yourself. So you start to rely on these virtual SIM providers. And there are countries where everything works flawlessly. And as an example, France, we have at least issues because there are specific implementation of data connectivity and 4G standards in some operators. And sometimes it is so that once per some period, suddenly tens of these gateways just disappear for some time. And all of them are in orange as an example. So these are the topics which are, you are not anymore resolving issues of hardware or how software works, but more like in connectivity with other partners, other vendors.
Yeah,
Thank you for this experience. That we are not the only one facing this.
Happy to know someone else has the same issues. Yeah, so Christian was that.
Christian had the hand raised.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for your presentations. I think from my side, it was very, you covered almost everything. I have one specific question that is related to the usage and applications of machine learning algorithms in IoT. So I would like to know if you, in your companies and within your products, are you using machine learning and algorithms, and also what type of machine learning algorithms are you using, and in what phase of the product? Yeah, because sometimes, from my experience, I came from the UK, and from the UK they try to companies that doesn't like it very much to use machine learning unless they have proven to be reliable. Yeah, to put it in the production state. Yeah, that's something that is quite difficult now for medium and small size companies, but I don't know in Europe.
Now, from my experience, for me, for the parking sensors, we don't need inside the sensors. This one, machine learning is for the data after. So first is to collect the data, but we are working, for example, now with the second generation. You see two eyes here, for example. The question is the parking sensor at this moment, the first and second generation is on, let's say, information. Who that I have 01, that is the parking place is occupied. This is 01. But now we are working with the generation number 2 and 3 to see who is occupying that parking place. People, car, number, other information. So we are working on this level of information now. And here, machine learning is coming on, for example.
Probably also like using machine learning is some kind of additional risk. What if it will fail? Like having your own defined logic in IoT is usually a better option. Not necessarily better, but more often.
Yeah, the fog computing, the edge computing now, federated learning, and so on. So they're trying to implement much more from the IoT side.
Yeah, but there is a different direction, like tiny ML, like tiny machine learning, dedicated specifically to more like IoT devices, something like this. If no one has a question, I would like to come back to what Kornel probably mentioned, like educate us IoT experts. So in this case, I assume both Vilnius Tech, RTU, Taltech, whole technical universities will say like, we develop good experts, but usually what challenge they are facing, students not getting in the studies. They're thinking like, oh, do I really like this kind of studies? I'm not sure, I'm just guessing based on Vilnius Tech situation. Like in our case, like I believe really they prepare good specialists, but the lack of students affect the market. So maybe some of you have any ideas how we could attract students to choose IoT area?
That's for me, I'm practice. So what I'm trying to attract with practice. So people to come for practice, and I see after they see how nice it is to work with the sensors and how with the challenging, the programming and this, they are coming more and more. But let's say we need to offer practice, more practice, in my opinion.
Andres will say something.
Yeah, I have a comment and sort of slash question on top of it. So I sort of agree. I also like practical things, and usually they attract students and sometimes even motivate, which is probably even more challenging. But the thing is, would you separate sort of bachelor studies from the master studies? So what would be, on your opinion, those topics which are for bachelors, where practice probably is the most attractive thing, and masters were probably sort of management, research, and those matters are more attractive for students, which are heading towards more leading positions in companies. So what would be your suggestions in order to us in academic community to be better in attracting both students and probably teaching staff as well?
It's a good point to make a separation or to see different levels. But on the other side, I see competitions. It's a way to motivate them. I see now I'm coming from a world skills competition. I'm an expert on information network cabling. I see IoT is on trend to become an international skill. So in my opinion, competition where you get awards, you get money for competition, that the students will be more interested in participating in this.
But do you see it applies for masters as well? I mean, sometimes masters are already full employees in companies and basically, sometimes do not have enough time for any kind of international sort of activities like competitions and other things. And since they're in companies, they're paid already. Do you see it would work for them?
Yeah, because for example, world skills competition is for young up to 25 years. So it's for the university.
Mm-hmm.
Could be also for young employers, for example.
Okay.
For both.
Okay. Any other opinions?
Okay, I will add I have a hypothesis, probably, I agree, practical experience would help, but I have a hypothesis making the area more visible to, for example, students not in university, in the secondary school, something like this, also could some kind of a contribute, oh, I like what they are doing, not necessarily touched it, but I saw they are developing something very interesting, challenging, something like this. So using the opportunity, maybe I could ask some of you, we will be using this workshop record also, some kind of highlighting the IoT area, but also maybe we could do some short videos like promotional of IoT area with some of you and publish to the general society, inviting everyone to choose this area, to choose electronics, cloud computing, IoT areas like this. So if you are in, just maybe it would be easy if you would write your email in the chat, then I or someone else will contact you regarding the details. Not necessary, just a proposal. Yeah, be free to speak.
Thank you. Simona, you asked something interesting, how to attract youngsters. And I used to be a teacher. And you're speaking now of something that's not new anymore. I come from I have a background in the construction business. And some of you, I think, Ernest, or I think he spoke about how to measure the air quality inside the rooms. Yeah. Now, I think IoT will blend in, for example, in the construction business and for the engineers, it will blend in for different specialties. Youngsters of today and tomorrow, they will necessarily learn about the performance and the technological what the equipment actually will do. What let's say ventilation with heat recovery. Yeah, if you have a centralized system. What it can do and how it will blend in. Houses of tomorrow will also teach us as a beneficiary, not me because I'm old now, but the youngsters of tomorrow, they will definitely live in homes that in which different objects will talk to each other. So I think the producers are already interested to find a common language for all the for all the products. I mean, sun protection to get integrated with the ventilation or other air conditioning or other heat ventilation air conditioning. So I don't know if I've made the point clear, but I think if it's IoT is truthful, yeah, I'm not entering in philosophy too much now, but if it's in the right direction, if it's going towards the truth, I mean it will definitely attract the youngster, and I think it's a good. I see in the sensors a prolonging of our own senses. It's actually what this technology is doing. It's very helpful for the not an easy living for the youngsters of tomorrow, but it will be their way of living. It's a different world. It's a new world that's taking shape. Yeah. And thank you, Volker, for your interesting project that you have started with Africa. And I know I have some ideas of the challenges that Europeans are actually addressing towards the whole world. Even if you speak of Asia, if you speak of South America, or first we should look to ourselves. I mean, I'm interested in the woods, for example, in Romania. I'm more interested to see that the woods in the eastern part of Europe are protected. And later, of course, I'm interested in the major lungs of our planet, like Indonesia or Malaysia or whatever, or Amazon, or yeah.
I mean, that's a really good point, but I think most people are not aware how close they are to the individual person in Africa or anywhere in the world, or to a little tree that grows now up in Romania in the outbacks of the middle of nowhere. We are so close to it because we all depend on them, and directly or indirectly. And these supply chains, it's just a mirror about how we see our world or how much we don't want to see. This is again going in a philosophical question, but you're absolutely right. It's important to finger point to the problems that we have. I'm sure that it's not always a sexy topic that people may want to learn about if you're just consuming things and want to pay for it, and then you think it's not my problem if something gets on the market in a compliant way, for example, or if forests are cut down for cheap scaling income of someone who is not interested in, he's just interested in profit, but not in ecological circularity, for example. These are all topics that need to be addressed, but it's hard to convince people. And we see that, for example, in Germany, we have several elections at the moment, and all these parties that are trying to blend these complex topics out, they get the votes, especially by the young people. 5 years ago, it was completely different. People voted for the Green parties, for those that had a bigger sense for environment and for social topics. And in just recent times, this gets lost. The young people vote right-wing parties a lot, at least not everyone. 30% is not 70% who don't vote them, but it's a very critical number of people. And so I'm wondering if IoT is something when you can use it for anything. You can build bombs with that. You can, but you can also help to measure carbon footprints or whatever. And I think it really depends on how you can convince people. It doesn't matter how old they are. I think age is not a matter here, should not be at least. But you should tell them what they get out of it, why it's important for them individually. That's more convincing, I think, than just theory or legal compliance or other things that may push people in a certain direction. Not sure what you think about it, but these are just general thoughts, how to convince young people. It's difficult.
But I assume like IoT area has one point which could be used like to say like this area is very sustainable. You are oriented on reducing resource usage just because it will be cheaper. And automatically you can convert it. It's very sustainable. We are thinking about using less resources just because it's important for the society, global, something like this. Because it some kind of still is a trend to be sustainable, green, something like this.
Yeah, I think IoT is more, from my point of view at least, but correct me if I'm wrong, it's more about what I can measure, I can try to control. If I don't measure it, if I don't, an IoT device I can control by seeing what it does, by getting the information on the spot, locally, and then do whatever I want to do with it or need to do. And I think that young people have a very good sense for having an impact and where they can try to change something, whatever that is for. And so I think it is an IoT device can be more interesting for many people when they understand how it could work and where you can use this abstract definition of what it is, and then try to implement it in things that you are interested in. But abstract things like compliant supply chains, I'm not sure if this is interesting. I mean, I like this topic, but I grew into it. And not everyone is keen on learning more about that.
Okay, last question from me, I promise. Like, at least two of you were mentioning like our device can perform 10 years. I assume like the battery is composed for this duration. So what happens after those 10 years? You are just throwing it away or you are replacing some elements? It's related to the sustainability. Like, do you think about the sustainability when you are developing the device?
I can show a video. We have 2 batteries and some sensors which are industrial grade. There are just 1 battery. And it really runs up to 10 years. And then all you need to do is just to replace. What we have faced in some cases is that in public spaces, somebody just takes the battery because his mouse battery has ended up, and so he need to replace. That is thing sometimes is like, why suddenly my sensor after a year has stopped to work in the classroom? Because somebody just took a battery for his mouse.
And there is a legal impact now because of the Eco-Design Directive. You have to make things in a way that you can repair or change, including the battery, for example, but also other components. And there will be a score for repairability and so on. And the lawmakers hope that this has an impact on the pricing of products and on the life cycle. But what we see is that the industry is reluctant to adopt this, because usually we see it, for example, when you have a battery, it's a very complex component and lots of things are glued into it. And now you may think, yeah, just let's change the glue with screws. But a screw can change over a lifetime because of there's lots of heat involved and vibration and so on. And robots like screws, they can dismantle them, but glues are something critical. Now we use different technologies to dissolve these glues by freezing it, by heating it, by whatever kind of technologies. It's very interesting to do that in a very critical environment where it can explode any moment when a heating up system conflicts with gases or whatever. So this again, there we use also IoT devices that measure things, that try to keep people out, make things safe. So I wonder how these new regulations on repairability will impact this in a way that, yeah, you have, of course, some disadvantages. Things may have a higher weight. They may need more service, like, for example, changing a battery costs time. People later need to change it. Throwing something away and plugging something else into it may be cheaper sometimes. And these are things that companies calculate in as long as they are allowed to do that. And this is something where I think regulation can help us to get it more repairable or recyclable and so on. I'm sorry that I spoke so much about these topics, but this is my day-to-day life, all these regulations and how they try to solve the problems that you mentioned, and still see that industry is not always convinced. And
But it's
voters
nice
too.
Yeah, it's nice you're speaking, because from our point of view, like we are from university, so the purpose is to understand where the IoT sector, on what topics are living, how we could be contributing. I'm not from IoT, but it was interesting to hear all of you and get some ideas how we could improve. So thank you, all of you, both for the presentation as well as for the discussion.
Yes, thanks to all for the presentations. I think that there have been an interesting variety of applications and services, and this helps us to have a picture of the situation. Well, we have no time left, but I was wondering if you can identify any of the layers which is most critical or most painful or most costly to develop. Is it the sensing part? Is it the network, the communications? Is it the service, the interface? What do you think? Is there any consensus about that? Or it depends on each application, on each case, likely?
I think it's the service, the most costly part, because there you need human beings and it's expensive.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we are on time. I don't know if is there any important question, or do you think that we can leave it here?
It's not like in a wedding, like speak now or be silent forever. It's like speak now or in the second workshop, which we will have someday.
Okay. That's a good question. Well, Simona, I didn't introduce you at the beginning, but Simona is one of the managers of the Merit project. So thank you very much for your contributions as well. So we expect to produce these people prepared for the needs of the IoT industry is one of the goals of the MERIT project. And so we expect that Cornell will be happy with the people that will come out from the MERIT project, the professionals, and that they will fit with the needs of his company. So, well, I think that we can close here. So thank you very much for all contributions and your interest. It's very valuable for us. And well, as Simona said, let's keep in touch for new opportunities to collaborate, to discuss, and so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And see you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks. Goodbye.